How to Win the Lottery, Season 18, Sara Levine module, Book 3, The Hitch, by the aforementioned Sara Levine, out this year. Brand new book. I'm Joey Lewandowski.
Brand new book. Is this the newest book that we've read, aside from the ones that we read because they were sent to us by people specifically because they were new?
Probably. I think so.
Okay.
And it's definitely, like, in terms of, if you want to be pedantic about it, this is the newest book that we have covered on the show because nothing has come out newer. But he's talking about, like, time between release and record.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Other than, like you're saying, Elif Batuman or whatever.
Yeah, Mount Chicago was like
Pre-release?
Yeah, we got that book before. Or
talk about that Chicago writing scene.
Yeah, Devil House was
yeah.
right around the corner.
All right, we did that as a bonus episode because we're just like, we want to read this anyway.
Yeah.
That's cool. We should do that more often. We should do that with William T. Vollmann's, not the Atlas. What's it called? A Table for Fortune.
Table for Fortune.
If it comes out, we will be doing it in January.
Yeah.
But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about The Hitch by Sara Levine, which I will say, another perfect book.
It's lovely.
She is so good. We heaped praise on Treasure Island. Gonna heap praise again here on The Hitch. Didn't think she could. Didn't know she could back up Treasure Island with another book like that, but she did.
Well, here's the thing about this book that strikes me as being strange, and also maybe a thing that in other books I would be like, hey, so like, what the heck?
Mm-hmm.
Why don't we wrap this up? We don't know what happens to the kid and the dog.
Nope.
We do not know what happens to the psychic.
Nope. We also, the final 12 hours of their time together is like fast forward, we only hear about it in a recap. Like there's so much that we just don't know.
It ends essentially, and this is we're at the end already here in the conversation. So maybe we're doing this conversation
record short episode,
but it ends with there's the opposite of resolution. Like it ends with her just not being in
it's a very sad
her relationship
ending.
with her brother is over.
So Treasure Island, it is there's the protagonists are similar. We'll talk about that in terms of not able to be adults in the world essentially, or a certain kind of adult or whatever. But where Treasure Island ends uplifting, where it's like she might actually have a relationship with her sister. Here it's like, oh no, like her brother and sister-in-law might never talk to her again. She might never get to see her nephew again. Maybe she learned a lesson, but also it's a sad ending. But
it's also in many ways it's a counter arc to Treasure Island, because also in the beginning of this book, she seems much more capable and has it together. And Rose, the narrator, main character, is financially stable, seems like a responsible adult, is annoying in many ways that certain people are annoying.
Yeah.
But really seems to be like have it together and be on top of it, and does have this great relationship with her family where she is watching. She's a fun aunt. Yeah. Right.
For a while, I was sort of, I mean, just because I was looking for connections, or because there's only the two novels and short stories. I was like, what if this is the Treasure Island protagonist grown up?
Yeah.
But she doesn't have a brother. Like it's not exactly. But I was like, this kind of could be the same type of character, but there are important differences between the two.
Well, there is. I mean, but the thing that's consistent is it is an exploration of someone who is, I think, fundamentally selfish.
Yeah.
Right. And that's masked a little bit here with this character because we have a character that she's caring for, but her care for that character lacks the filter that you should have with children, and it lacks the protective nature that you should have with children.
Well, I also think the same thing could be said. Maybe it's a different type of relationship, but the same thing could be said about her relationship to her job, where she doesn't seem to like her job or like the company or like what the products that they make, and just wants to sell it. And then when the sale falls through, she is burdened with that as well. But it seems like she just I don't know what she wants to do, but it seems like what she doesn't want to do is what she has to do.
Yeah.
Maybe what she wants to do is just hang out with her nephew. I don't know.
Yeah, another thing that's interesting about this is that we get the sense that she is the fun aunt, and she wants to spend that Sunday or Saturday or whatever with the kid. And we don't get those fun Saturdays and Sundays before he stays for the week.
No, we're thrown into the deep end.
And then when he stays for the week, I don't really get the sense that he likes her very much or that he enjoys being at her house or anything like that.
We don't really get a ton of time with him as him before he gets maybe a corgi hitches a ride in his body.
I'm interested in the word maybe there.
Well,
expand.
Like you said before, like we don't get explanation. Like we don't really know. I mean, she sees him
like morphing,
transmogrify into a corgi, into Hazel. And there are other things, and like he knows things that he couldn't otherwise possibly know.
Yeah.
But we don't have answers, and I don't think we don't need answers. But it takes a leap of faith to believe that he is actually a spirit of a corgi is within his soul.
Yeah, because that's an absurd premise,
right? But also it works because there's a weird grounded nature to all of it that like there's not that much crazy that goes on outside of that.
Yeah, because for every time that we're thinking about an exorcism, we're also thinking about listeria and
fighting at school and like suspensions and whatever.
Recalling the yogurt and her dropping her phone in the water and all of these like very, very practical things that are the things that actually like there is an almost uncut gem style anxiety to that stuff because I think you imagine, or I do, because there are like a handful of kids that I am like a uncle figure toward that I imagine babysitting them for a week would result in disaster.
I also feel it is a lot to ask. And I think that like there's a reason she has to sell them on it. Like to go from, I am not a parent, I see this kid 2 hours a week to I can take care of him full time for a week while also selling my business and whatever. It's a lot of work to do. Like to go from, I am living my own and like it's easy to like babysit. Like he even calls her a babysitter and she's like offended by that. But like that's really kind of what she is for most of their relationship.
Yeah.
And then to be like, no, I have to make sure that like he goes to school and does his homework and eats food and like doesn't get into fights and whatever.
But I mean, similar to the protagonist in Treasure Island, Rose she's afflicted with a case of the fuckets.
Yeah.
Right. She's just like, whatever. Like, we'll just do it.
Yeah.
That's how you get through life. You just move from one thing to the other. You don't have to have anxiety
which
about
I think is kind of a good way to live.
It is. Yeah, for sure.
If you've not read this book, I mean, go read the book. It's new. It's not that expensive. Just go buy it. But if you have not read it yet or get it from the library or whatever, she goes on a walk with her dog, Walter, who's a big dog, and her nephew, Nathan. And they find in the park this other dog, Hazel, a corgi, walked by this woman, Mary Munn. And in a sort of shocking, like I did not expect this to happen at the end of the first of 3 parts, Walter kills Hazel. Like basically grabs like a little rabbit in his mouth and just like kills it. And then you're like, oh, and then the story becomes the spirit of Hazel then enters her nephew Nathan's body. And he is now part kid, part dog with the knowledge of everyone who has died before, kind of.
Yeah. Yeah. And a deep knowledge of literature and knock jokes,
but also sometimes getting things wrong.
Yeah.
Knock,
which is funny.
2 can share one body, which is pretty good.
It's hard to invent knock jokes.
Yeah.
I think. I've never tried it, but I don't think I'd be able to do it.
Well, I think that's like in college, I took a class that was a screenwriting class and I wrote a stand-up, a script, or I wrote like a third of a script, like the first act of a story of a stand-up comedian walking to his first gig after an atomic bomb or something wipes out the landscape. And I don't think I realized when I pitched the idea, like, oh, I have to write like jokes. Like I have to write so not only am I writing a movie, which I'm not good at, but I also have to like write a stand-up bit that like seems plausible, which I'm also not good at.
But nobody's good at that. Every single time, there is no exception to this rule. Every time that there is a movie where there is an artist that is supposed to be a great artist in whatever field they're in, you inevitably come away going like, that wasn't as good as it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
The only exceptions that I can think of off the top of my head are Lady Gaga in
Star is Born.
In A Star is Born, and Nick Nolte in the Martin Scorsese section of New York Stories, where he's like the abstract art that he makes in that is I think pretty good. What
about Adam Driver as a poet in Patterson?
Yes, whatever. Or Will Arnett is a comedian in that new Bradley Cooper movie.
Which I will never see.
It's awful.
Fingers crossed that it gets the Ocean's 11 prequel. Please let him get the Ocean's 11 prequel.
It's awful. But that's why, like, one reason why you shouldn't make movies about stand-up comedy. And there's never been a good movie about stand-up comedy, in my opinion, except for maybe the one exception to that might be the movie Lenny. But that movie is not the comedy bits are just Lenny Bruce's actual comedy bits, and they're also not funny. But It's like you're not even really supposed to think that Lenny Bruce is funny at this point. You're just supposed to think of him as like some prophetic figure.
And yet here, Sarah Levine is inventing knock-knock jokes. Or I
forgot how we got on this.
I was trying to bring us back. I was like, how do we get here? And yet it works. Like they're very funny. They're also.
It's hard to write a knock-knock joke.
I feel like doing a knock-knock joke, like the bar is low, right? Yeah. Where it's like it's not supposed to be like the most creative thing. Like it's all wordplay or.
I only know two, and they're both poop jokes. It's knock-knock. Who's there? Europoo, no Europoo. Oh. And then the other one is knock knock, who's there? I done a poo, ew, gross. Both of those are, I think, pretty solid knock knock jokes.
Did you come up with them?
No.
Oh, okay.
I wish.
There's also another funny thing that I don't know if these are things that she came up with or she found online or maybe she eats this way, but the vegan recipes that Rose offers as substitutions for like quote unquote normal recipes all sound fucking disgusting.
I don't know.
I like that at the end. Well, it's like, what could you use instead of like butter? It's like, oh, you could use like, I know that people use applesauce, but the way that she describes like, oh, you want to make a pie crust? It's just like these 3 insane ingredients.
I don't have that kind of relationship with food.
But I like that there's a part of this book that sort of seems like, what the secret to happiness is? Going to McDonald's. Like she is never happier in this book than when she's reflecting on her time at McDonald's at the end of the book. She's like, that was really good.
Right. Because you get that high caloric, salty brain spike of meat.
And she's like, we spend so much time doing like these healthy, like gut healthy foods and whatever. But the fries he just brought me are the same fries that were made 15 minutes ago. How do they taste the same? Preservatives.
Yeah.
It's delicious.
Yeah.
So part of me is just like, oh, McDonald's is the key to happiness. And I don't know, like, I think there's a lot going on in here, and I don't think that's like the point of it. But also I think it's for a woman whose job centers around food and her like diet is, also babysitting a 6-year-old, like this kid's not going to want to eat like vegan whatever unless he's raised on that, which it doesn't seem like he is. He's raised on McDonald's and whatever. So anyway.
What do
you think of the title? Because I think the title's very good.
It is good. I guess like is it ever explicit in the text? It's just about the corgi hitching a ride inside the body.
Well,
right?
at the end when she's talking to her brother and he goes, "What's the hitch?"
Oh,
like,
okay.
He literally explicitly says, but I think it's like the corgi is hitching a ride and he's also like, instead of saying like, "What's the catch?" in terms of like, I'm stepping away.
Yeah.
He says, "What's the hitch?" So I think there's also like that. Or also just like the hitch and like, things were going well, except for the fact that like, there's now a dog in your son.
Yeah. There's now a dog in your son. I think, and this sort of reflects on Treasure Island a little bit too. I think one of its strengths is that it has an almost sketch comedy sensibility to it, or
how so,
or like 30 Rock sensibility to it, in that the world feels heightened in a way that it's almost as though the stakes are very low. It's presented like it's low stakes.
Okay.
When in fact, the stakes could not be higher than having an entity possess a child. Right?
Yes.
And you're like, she's involving healers, but the healers are not like, it's not Father Karras from The Exorcist, right? It's like, Miss Cleo.
Well, she also does a thing where it is like to go on vacation and to suffer a tragedy, but that tragedy is that a dolphin bit you. Like, it's like such a crazy specific, like, no, this would be like, could cause like serious medical damage. Like what could have drowned. And you hear just like a dolphin bit. Like, it seems like the craziest, like what could have gone wrong on vacation. She got bit by a dolphin. Yeah.
And then the kid has a like, fuck yeah, my mom fought a dolphin as his perspective on it,
which is good.
Yeah.
But there's so many like a little asides, and I thought that's maybe what you were saying about the 30 Rock element of it. But there's one thing where she's just writing it. I don't know why. I'm guessing it just made Sarah Levine laugh. But when they're at McDonald's, Nathan says, "Come on over, Aunt Rose." He called, "Come over and bring your fries." Reluctantly, I rose. Parentheses. That's my name. It's like, we know.
Yeah.
It's like such a specific like funny, just like we don't need that aside, but like it just probably made her laugh, I'm guessing, or like
yeah, or you think like if like I were bobbing for apples or something.
You mean shredding?
If I were shredding documents because I'm cheating on my taxes.
Yep.
Or if you were a baby kangaroo.
Because it's also funny that like we don't really know her name for maybe like 50 pages. Like she's just telling the story. It's a while. I don't know, because I thought I only noticed it because
you had noted
Treasure
previously
Island,
that
right.
Yeah.
But like this is like 280 pages into the story. Like we know her name by now, but it's the funny at the end. Maybe it's the first time that Rose was a verb, and she just said, "Well, that's my name." So
something that Meg said that I thought was interesting. And I wonder if she says this in her email. So I apologize if I'm stepping on future toes here. But she said that she could have read this. She wishes that this book were 1,000 pages long.
Yes.
And I think that's a really interesting thought.
I got sad. Like for some reason in my head, I thought it was like 320 pages. And then when I looked, because I was like 260 last time. Like, oh, I don't think I finished it. So I'm like, oh, there's only 290. Like I got sad that it was like even 30 pages shorter than I expected it to be.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man.
But why do you think? Because it does not have big book aesthetics to it.
No.
Right? It very much has we're wrapping this story up in 300 pages.
But I was thinking about that because you said, I wonder if it's ever been done, like a 300-page story told over 1,000 pages. Now, Duck's Newburyport is kind of like, it's not a big story, but that's artistically a different thing.
Yeah.
Well, I think the question is, how much can you fit in the span of a week? Because it's a limited time frame.
Right.
And they could obviously do more stuff, but it also feels like the days are already kind of packed, to use a Calvin and Hobbes metaphor, right? Like they get in a car accident in here. Like he gets suspended from school. They go to the office. There's the dog. Like there's so much stuff that goes on. It
truly is like if you left your son with your sibling, you would be horrified to find out about the week that they had.
Well, also to his point, when he's like, we've been calling you all week.
Yeah.
You have not been answering your phone. Also, Judy told us got suspended, wearing a neck brace, car accident, a dog was killed in front of him. Mm-hmm. Like it's just that all happened in a week is horrific when you add it up. I love how much Dr. Chow loves Nathan and loves the jokes and just like doesn't seem to be like entertaining him. Like the way this is written, it seems like they're friends.
Yeah. The way that like a good doctor should be.
Yeah. Good bedside manner.
Yeah.
I also enjoy, because there's in terms, I'm just thinking about other things that like are included. Like there's a lot that is packed into 300 pages, and I agree. Like I said in the first episode, and I said I think last time, like I want 40 books by her. I think the magic in this is that it's shorter. I would read a 1,000-page book, but I think a lot of the fun is like, what's her name, Nadia Vizcarra Lurkins. I went to her website, not a real website.
Imagine if she was a real person.
The fact that she's only there for like 10 pages, and like she maybe irrevocably changes Rose's life forever, but we don't know.
Yeah. What did you make of that scene?
I was like, oh, we're like in a fantasy novel now. Okay. Like,
and it's also gross. She's like talking about how her body's filled with cat shit.
Yep.
And
like in the real world, she feels like silverfish or whatever, like crawling her way up her entire body.
Briefly turns into kind of a horror novel.
Yeah.
And then also you understand that she's the one afflicted with demons.
Right.
Not necessarily.
Which then goes back to like maybe Nathan does not have Hazel in him.
Yeah.
But maybe she got listeria from one of her matcha, like her yogurt or whatever, and is seeing things or experiencing. Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah, which is like the Paddy Chayefsky play, The 10th Man. I think the plot is like they're making a mignon or something like that, but like a person is possessed. In the entire play, you think one person is possessed, but when they like do a thing to get the demon out, a different person is the person that collapses, and it is this like holy shit moment in that play.
Yeah.
So I thought about that. I thought about Paddy Chayefsky when I was reading this, which is like you wouldn't put Paddy Chayefsky and Sarah Levine in the room together and be like, these artists are similar in any way. But I think there is that misdirection that exists. And then we don't really like, she never returns to the idea that she had demons inside of her.
No. Well, also, to the point that you're like, she's maybe the one afflicted, like when she calls Nadia or Nadia calls her back or whatever, like she tries to talk about Nathan and she's just like, no, like we got to work on you for like, like she senses if you believe in that is a thing that exists in this world.
Yeah.
And this woman has the ability to rid you of demons from afar. maybe take the hint that like she doesn't want to talk about your nephew. She wants to talk about you.
Yeah. And one of my favorite things in any book, my favorite artistic thing to be done in narrative, is to create a situation in which the supernatural may be happening, but it also may not be happening, and then you as the reader have to navigate that space to determine which thing is true.
Right. Because
that's a trick I love.
An overwhelming majority of this, it's not supernatural, but there's a couple scenes where it's like that's a thing.
Yeah, his face morphing into the corgi.
Yep. But then like later, like. There's also the thing. So we talk. Actually, this reminds me of another thing I want to ask you. It has nothing to do with the hitch, but I want to do it at the end of the episode in case it doesn't work. We can cut it out. But we talk a lot on Too Fast about how in the Fast and Furious movies nobody ever dies anymore, and people come back from the dead and whatever. And we had a guest who said that she had a theory that if Dom doesn't see you die, you're still alive. But if he sees you die, you're dead. So like the other thing is like narrative, whatever. And I think that there's something interesting in this book about when Jill, I think Jill or Judy, the friend, or the other mom comes over, after she goes, Rose is talking to Nathan. He's like, I was trying to do it in the car and it didn't work. And it's like, it almost makes me feel like, well, because she wasn't there.
Yeah, right.
Like he's not actually afflicted by a thing. It's like proximity to her or her demon, or like she is seeing him act up in ways or like whatever it is. But he's like, I was trying to do it. I was trying to like, stick my tongue out or whatever, but it didn't work. And she like freaks out. But I wonder if that was a thing where it's like, because she's not there, he's just being a kid.
Right.
I don't know.
Because she is the one that's afflicted.
Correct.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Also.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. But like that just, it made me think of like, we're literally hearing the story from her perspective. We don't see him in the car. We hear them honking the horn or whatever. But she's inside with the other mom fingering her drapes or whatever. And she's like, didn't I tell her where those clothes were from? And like, didn't I let her finger my drapes? But because she's not with Nathan, he can't become Hazel because he's just a kid. I don't know.
The other thing that this book reminded me of, weirdly enough, was Maggie Gyllenhaal's movie, The Bride.
Oh, which I've not seen yet.
There are some similarities that are pretty striking, even though I think that is a bad movie. And I think that this is a good book. There's narrative similarities of possession and things like that.
Oh, okay.
And quoting things like Shakespeare.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. I don't want to spoil that for you.
Okay. Well, yeah, I will see it later this year. She seems like freaked out by online stuff. Chat rooms, social media platforms, electronic bulletin boards. People routinely misunderstood my tone. I used to post in the mid-century pottery and glass forum, but the so-called community kept flagging my posts. Now I can find myself to TripAdvisor and Yelp, and even there a person is vulnerable to random censure. Parentheses, when Yelp removed my review of the Groon Tavern, I felt the same level of anguish I did when a band of teenagers egged my house. Seriously, I thought I'd crack up if I started reading stuff online. And yet that's how she finds the Oracle or whatever, right? Like the...
Yeah, I think also not being able to mitigate or understand other people's interpretation of your tone online is indicative of a lack of self-awareness that these characters have. Right. So she can't understand why what she's saying might come off as any other way than the way that she's saying it, because how could anyone not immediately be able to understand her perspective? Because she is, after all, the main character and the person who has control of the narrative. That's how people think when anyone who has main character syndrome has a hard time with being misunderstood because they think that there is no other perspective than theirs. And so anyone that has another perspective must be mistaken.
Well, I think we see that a lot in here in different forms. Like she realizes that her relationship with her friend Omar is not necessarily like what she thinks their relationship is not necessarily like, she thinks that they're like BFFs and like he's always gonna be there for her, but he's like, to him, it's just like, fucking, I'm just on a date. Like, I don't want to deal with her right now.
But he shows up for the car accident. He does. He's a good dude.
And he also shows up at the end when she locks him out, when he locks herself out or whatever. But I think it's like, because I had highlighted a thing about like when she remembers their first time they hung out, they talked about like Thomas Jefferson's hair and like how he was probably bald and whatever. And she's like, I wonder if he had a good time that night too, or if it was just me. But like clearly they're friends. Like he had a good night, but to her, it's like this is the night where we became friends, and maybe not. I don't know.
But then also she writes him the handwritten apology, which is a big moment for her. And then when he gets it, he's just like, you did what? What? Who? What? Just talk to me.
Yeah.
You don't have to like do these overtures. Just be a normal person.
I mean, that's also a little bit like Office Space, where Peter like confesses to the crimes and then slips the thing under the door, and then Milton burns the building down. Like none of it matters. It's like, no, you made the gesture, and then the business was closed that day, and she talked to him anyway, or whatever. Like there's something really funny and sad and whatever, ironic maybe, of doing this bold gesture, and then it really means nothing because for nature takes its course.
Are you wearing a Joy Division shirt?
No, this is a shirt from a flower shop.
Okay.
In the town in Texas where my family lives.
It's not Joy Division at all.
No, not even close. Was anything in life better than 4 McNuggets for $1?
I don't think you can get 4 McNuggets for $1 anymore.
I think the dollar menu is like just the value menu now. There's no more dollar menu.
I think four McNuggets is probably like $4 now.
Coming back from the airport the other day when Margaret and I from Texas, where I got the shirt, we landed at we were supposed to land at 9. We landed at 10 because of delays or whatever. Like we just need like a little bit, and we got a burger and 6 nuggets from Burger King for like $2.50. We're like, that's what it should cost. Like that feels like a good value. But
is stuff cheaper in Texas generally than it is here?
Oh, that was in New Jersey.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean New Jersey's stupidly expensive.
Yeah.
We went grocery shopping. We're like, this, like a thing of like mixed berries. It was like $7 would be like 13 here. It's just like because they can. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anything else to say? You want to read Egg's email?
Well, I want to talk about the cover, which I love. I love the cover of this book because it seems to go somehow against the tide of what book covers are these days. And it almost looks like the cover to a children's book or a young adult book.
Okay.
It is an illustration just of the corgi, and the corgi looks
drooling. Yeah.
And the corgi looks deranged.
Yeah.
And it excited me too because it looked a little bit like my dog.
Yeah. But Truther's not a corgi.
Truther's not a corgi. Truther is a nobody really knows.
I think the in my head, the association with corgi is just like Queen Elizabeth II. Like that's the only thing I know. Yeah. And so you have a specific kind of thing. But there's also a intentionally removed drama from the story here where she's like, oh my God, I killed this woman's dog. And she's like, I fucking hated that dog.
Yeah. It does.
That was my ex's dog. I never wanted the dog. I'm glad that it's like, that could have been a whole thing. And she's like, nope.
It does the immediate thing of dismissing the drama that you thought there would be in favor of a different, more interesting drama.
Yep.
That is unexpected.
Which is perfect.
Yeah.
Because again, not that I ever thought Sara Levine would like bog us down in a legal case about a dead dog, but it's like, it's amazing still to me how quickly it goes away.
Yeah.
We have an email address, lottery@cageclub.me. Write in about this book, any book. We're talking to Sara next episode, but we will have recorded that episode by the time you hear this. So don't ask her questions, but also ask her questions and maybe she'll listen to the show. Probably not, but who knows. Meg's reaction to The Hitch. Sara Levine has done it again. This email will probably be short because I don't feel like getting too personal about this. I'm not sure which novel I liked more, but I think that The Hitch may be better, quote, better, purely because of the last scene with Rose and her brother. You get just a small taste of the shared family trauma, and oh man, I could have read 1,000 pages going into or dancing around that. But I'm also satisfied with the book as it is, because you get Rose saying that she, quote, gets it or, quote, understands, but then you get the scene where she accuses them of abandoning her, and she's back to her old controlling tricks, because, of course, Rose hasn't changed.
Yeah, there's a real Seinfeld aesthetic to both this and Treasure Island, in which you think, like, is anybody learning anything? Are these characters, is there an arc for these characters?
Yeah.
Maybe not.
This book felt so incredibly real for being about a ghost, and honestly, I believe that everything in this novel could have happened. The corgi visions could be explained by spooky coincidence / the fact that almost all small children are a little creepy. And Rose is clearly having a mental breakdown, and if you believe in ghosts and stuff, you can say that all this stuff happened without explaining anything away. All in all, a really wonderful novel.
Yeah, I mean, all ghost stuff is trauma stuff anyway, right? And I don't believe in ghosts, but I believe in like hallucinations, and those hallucinations come from a place of being shaken up by various things. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
Anything else you want to say about The Hitch by Sara Levine?
I think I'm good.
Okay, so I have a different thing, and again, if this doesn't work, we can cut it out. I was thinking about because I was listening to a podcast and they were talking about like there's that podcast like The Worst Idea in the World where they watch like Grown Ups 2 every week for a year and people like wasting their lives in different ways or whatever. And I was thinking about how we do on Too Fast. We rewatch the Fast and Furious movies over and over again, and we like cut in other things. Mm-hmm. And you can also decline this question, or you can just say you'll think about it and then answer or not. But if you, I'm also thinking about this in terms of Treasure Island, in terms of like reading one book over and over for a year. But if you were tasked to create, say, like a 10-book module that we reread every time through.
Yeah.
But then like the way that we do theme seasons, we're like, but they're all themes off a thing or whatever. Where like currently for Too Fast, we're like doing classic car movies or whatever. Like if you were tasked to create like a 10-book module, I don't think they can be like 1,000-page books. Like they have to be like reasonably short to keep going through them, but like are rewarding enough, or there's enough things in there and are also just fun enough and good enough that we like to keep reading them. And then that also set up a spiderwebbing path out of different things to talk about. What would those books be? Does that question make sense?
Do you want 10?
I think 10, because I mean, when we started Too Fast, there were 8 movies. Now there are 11. There will be a 12th coming out soon. But somewhere in the like long enough to where it doesn't feel like you're reading the same thing every 2 months.
Right. There's something I think about Infinite Jest that does that for me, because you could do a 10-book module around, like, let's say you take Infinite Jest as a centerpiece to that module, and I might be answering your question in the wrong way, and if I am, I apologize. But like Infinite Jest as a module, it can be read as a campus novel. It can be read as a science fiction novel. It can be read as an addiction novel. It can be read as a father-son novel. It can be read as a sports novel. And so if you find other books, I don't know if you can find 10 other books that can weave their way in and out of that. There's certainly DeLillo books that you can do that with. So you could make one. You could do a 10-book module and be like, okay, now we're reading these 10 books and we're going to talk about the science fiction aspect of them. Okay, now we're reading these books and we're going to talk about the addiction aspect of them. Okay, now we're reading this books and we're going to talk about the sports stuff. And I don't know, I mean...
Well, I guess that then leads me down a different path. And my question can be, are there 10, just again, for the sake of the question, 10 novels we could do, or is there a single author that has 8 or 10 different things? Like, for instance, like for Fast and Furious, we did like the Tokyo Drift lap, and we just like, it was like, we didn't really watch the other movies in relation to Tokyo Drift, but like in between, we did like Japanese movies and like, you know, movies starring actors from that. Like, so we could do like, if one of the 10 books was DeLillo, we could be like, here's the DeLillo season or whatever. But I'm wondering, like, which books do you think, if you were saying once a year, we will reread these 10 books?
Yeah.
What would those 10 books be? And also to your point of like, Jess could be read in a bunch of different ways. Like, what would reward rereading and not just like, well, I could bump this out in an afternoon.
Okay, so I think I misinterpreted the original question, because I thought we were going. I thought we were just going to. I thought we were going to reread the same 10-book module over and over again.
We are, and then reading other things in between.
Okay,
but the crux is the same. It's like, what 10 books are worthy of rereading, say, once a year? That also open up, that aren't just like comfort, that just like there's nothing, you pick it all up on the first. You don't have to answer this now. I'm curious if there is a correlate, because again, most people, sane people, look at the Fast and Furious movies like, I can see those once and never. Like, that's not a thing. But like, to us, they're fun. There's enough going on. There's enough of them. There's diversity, and like you can also spiderweb out in terms of themes and whatever.
I could do it. I think in my brain I would lean toward bigger novels, which would make it harder to do, because the bigger novels are the ones that I tend to reread.
Yeah.
For reasons that I just think that there's the rereading of stuff that has larger themes and just more stuff happening in the book. I know this was actually when we interviewed Adam Levine, this was a point of disagreement between me and him, because I was talking about how the bigger novels are the ones that tend to be more worth rereading. And his point was that he could reread, I think, Franny and Zoe like over and over and over and over again, and never deviate from it. So I don't know. I mean, I could try that. I could try to make that list.
Like, it's not a thing we would do, because I also think the reason, although we've spread it out a little bit, but the reason that we're able to do it on Too Fast is because we do it weekly, and like, I don't like, I'd always rather defer to new stuff as opposed to rereading the same things.
Yeah.
But
we've never reread anything, right?
No. But I feel like if we do like an Otessa Moshfegh module or something, there are authors who we have done that we would reread stuff.
That would be worth rereading.
But yeah, I wonder if our episodes would be interesting or would be good or whatever.
I don't know.
I'll think
about it.
Anyway, anything else to say in this episode?
I don't think so. I look forward to the interviewing her.
Keep reading.
Today's crime is pirating music illegally from the internet.
People still do that? I guess that people still do that. Theme song.